Hello, Happy New Year! It's my first video in 2026. I'm gonna review all the events I did in 2025. So in 2025, I did 12 events that are either conventions or markets. It's a little bit less than I did in 2024. I think I did 16 in 2024, so it's 4 less, but I still increased my revenue, so I think I did a great job picking which events I wanted to do and which events I wanted to cut off from my list. And this year again, I'm gonna cut a few more. Before we get into it, I just want to give a little bit of context to my ranking. So I'm a Canadian artist, but specifically I'm from the Montreal area. All the events outside of Montreal are travel events for me, so this is pretty important to know because sometimes events are good when you're local and not super good when you need to fly or book a hotel for it. Also, about my shop, I'm about 50-50 original art and fan art, and most of my fan art is based on K-pop. I make enamel pins, stickers, sticker sheets, prints, desk mats, keychains, coasters, and probably other stuff that I forget right now, but that's what you can find in my shop and what people can find at these events. Most of these events I did a vlog about it, so you can find out more information about them if you go into my channel. I think there's only like 2 or 3 that I didn't vlog, and there's a few that I didn't edit yet either, so you're gonna get a bit of a spoiler of how they turned out. But hopefully you still watch the vlogs when I edit them. These are next on my list. Also, for a little bit of context, this is how my revenue was split for this year. So the majority of my revenue was coming from events, as you can see, a little bit from retail and a little bit from online sales on Etsy. So if we start in 12th place, this is the last place and it's an event that I never want to do again. It's called Laval Comic Con. It's very close to Montreal actually, so it only takes about 40 minutes from where I live to go to this event. And it was the second time it was happening, but the first time was a lot of years ago. So it's kind of like it was the first time. I feel like the tables were just too expensive for what it is, and the floor plan really sucked. Artists were split into 2 levels, and the first floor had less artists than the main floor. I was specifically in a really bad spot, I think, because I was past the stairs to go to the main floor, so some people didn't see me at all. They weren't even sure if there was going to be a 2026 edition of Laval Comic Con, but I recently received the email about if we wanted to rebook our tables, and the price upped a lot. So I definitely don't want to do it. This one is in 12th place and I never want to do it again. Then we'll go into the C category, which are events that I don't want to do in 2026. I might do them again at one point, maybe next year, but I'm probably gonna skip like 2 years at least before trying again. So number 11 is Anime Ottawa. This is by the same company as Laval Comic Con, so their table are quite expensive, even though 2025 was only the second year of Anime Ottawa. And this year Anime Ottawa was my worst con ever. It was 3 days, and on Sunday I only made like $30 of sales. So the size of the convention is really big, but there's not enough attendees, and Ottawa is like a smaller city. I'm just traumatized by this year's numbers for me, so I didn't want to rebook my table for 2026. At number 10, it's a similar story. It's Quebec Comic Con. So Quebec Comic Con is in my province, but it's still 2-3 hours away from me. So I had to book a hotel for this, and the hotels in Quebec City are really expensive. The sales at the conventions are just not super high, and wasn't worth it for me because the table price is so high and the hotel. Maybe I would have to split the hotel with other people to make it more worth it, but I'm just comfortable being alone. I don't know if I want to do all this work for not that much money, so I'm cutting it off my roster for 2026. Then we're moving into the B category. My B category has events that are not super bad, but I mostly recommend them only for local people. There are events that I don't really want to do again in 2026. I want to grow more, I think, before trying again some of them. So yeah, let's get into it. The number 9 is KFM Spring Market. This goes for any KFM market, honestly, but I think my last event recap, I had told that I didn't want to do them again in 2025, but I still ended up doing it, and I still didn't make a lot of sales there. So the organizers are great, and the table price is not really expensive, but it's just the sales are not enough for me to go for a whole day. So hopefully in the future I can try again, maybe if I can grow my K-pop catalog, because this is specifically a K-pop market. I feel like the type of people that go at this market don't want the type of art that I make. So I'm probably just gonna skip it, even though I like K-pop and I like K-pop merch, but it isn't working for me there. Then at number 8, I have Happy Cute Mart. Unfortunately, this market was a bit disappointing for me this time. I went to the spring market, and since I'm from Montreal and this market happens in Toronto, it wasn't worth it. I think it's really good for local people. So if you're from the Toronto area and have original art, definitely apply to it. Maybe in the future, I'll apply again and only bring my original art to see if that makes a difference, because I know the show mostly focuses on original art. So maybe if my table was only original art, I would stand out more. I don't think I'll go again in 2026, but maybe the year after that, I'll try again and only bring my original art to test out. At number 7, by the same organizers, I put Pin Patch Show. So they are great organizers, but it's really the same reason as Happy Cute Mart. Since I'm from Montreal, it's just a little bit too expensive for me to go, and I didn't get the results I wanted because of that. I know an artist friend from Vancouver who made the flight and covered all her expenses. So maybe it's just me. For me, it wasn't worth it, but for her, it was worth it. So take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, I won't apply again next year because I don't think I have the right catalog for it. And at number 6, I have the Montreal Mini Comic Con. This one, even though it's in the B category, I'm probably going to do it again just because I'm from Montreal. But in the past 2 years, it's really been underperforming for me, and the table price is really expensive. And while I cover all my expenses, it doesn't leave me with a lot of profit because of the table price. So yeah, I don't recommend it for people from out of town. But if you're local, I mean, it's not a big risk, but it's not big profits either. And now we're moving into my A category. My A categories are events that I want to do again in 2026. At number 5, I put Otafest. So this is an event that I did for the first time this year. It's in Calgary, Alberta. And since I'm from Montreal, I obviously had to get a flight to go there. And I still think it was worth it. I didn't make a ton of profit, but since I had a lot of expenses for this show, I think I'm still proud of what I accomplished. And I want to see how I can grow that number in 2026 if they accept me by having a better display. Because since it was my first time flying to a convention, it was my first time building a display that was flyable, and I think I could definitely improve on that. So I should receive my acceptance or rejection notice in January. So I'm excited and fingers crossed I get in. I want to go back to Alberta and have time to visit a bit maybe this time, since this year I only flew in and flew out for the show exclusively. So yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for this. At number 4, I have Montreal Comic Con, so the regular one that happens in July. This one I was really lucky this year. I think my table placement was super good. Even though I rebook every year, they always put me in a different spot every year, so I don't know why they do this. But this year in the rebook form, I wrote that I wanted the same spot, so hopefully in 2026, I'm in the same spot because I think it was super great. I was near the doors of Artist Alley. The people around me didn't sell the same thing as me, so I think that worked out for me because I didn't have as much competition around me. Montreal Comic Con is also for sure worth it for people coming from out of town. So I see a lot of people from all over Canada at this show. The only downside of this event is that the price is increasing every year, and it's at a point where I'm wondering, like in 5 years from now, will I still be able to afford a table price? Because my revenue can only increase so much. So I'm wondering if the table price will be too much for me one day. So that's the only negative I would say about it. At number 3, I put Uwu Fest. So even though I make a lot less money at Uwu Fest compared to Montreal Comic Con, I still put it at number 3 because the organizers really care about the artists at Uwu Fest. So that's important to me. And the table price is a lot more fair compared to Montreal Comic Con. So I really love doing this show again this year, and I hope they're gonna be back in 2026 because this is one of my favorite conventions. I did film a vlog for it, and it's in my editing backlog, so you haven't seen it yet, but it's coming. For Uwu Fest, I wouldn't really recommend traveling to it if you're outside from Montreal. I know a few Toronto artists made the trip this year, and I'm not sure if it was worth it for them. But if I was coming from out of town, I think that wouldn't have been enough. But maybe people had different experiences. I don't know about it. At number 2, I have Otakuton. So at first I was rejected from the lottery this year, and I made it out of the waitlist. I'm so happy about it. So I missed the year before that, and I was so sad. So this year I was very happy to have made it in. So for Otakuton, it's definitely worth it to travel to, wherever you are in Canada, I think. This year I had a table placement in the middle row. So I had like an end cap table that's at the end of every row. I wasn't too sure about it when I saw the map, but the results were really good. It was my best Otakuton ever and my best convention. Montreal Comic Con was my best convention, and then a month later, Otakuton beat that record. So maybe it was because I had a good spot. Maybe it was because I missed the previous year. So people missed me and bought from me the products that came out during these past 2 years. So there's a lot of different things that could have made it better for me, but it's an event that, especially since I'm from Montreal, I want to attend every year. I'll put my name in the hat for next year for sure. And my number 1 event is the same one as last year. It's Pocha. So this one is my favorite event. It's a K-pop and Korean culture event. It's mostly for food vendors, but there's also a big area for artists and vendors. And it was my 3rd year doing it, and every year it's worth it, super worth it for me. It's my best event every year. My table neighbor was actually from Calgary, and she said it was super worth it for her too, even though it's 4 days, so it's a lot of hotel nights, plus the flights to come, so she had high expenses for sure, and she was super satisfied. So if you have K-pop merch, it's a good event for your crowd for sure. So that concludes my ranking of all the events, cons, markets that I did in 2025. I hope in 2026 I can do most of them again, except the ones that I don't want to hear about. And I hope I can also do Anime North. We're supposed to get our results in like 2 or 3 days, so I'm very excited about it. I missed last year. Hopefully Otakuton, Pocha. I want to try also a Japanese festival that happens. That's by the same organizers as Pocha. It's called Yatai. And I've tried 2 years already, and I've been rejected both times, but I'm still gonna try again. I have a few more Japan-inspired products this year, so maybe they're gonna accept me. So far, the only confirmed convention that I have is Montreal Comic Con in July, so yeah, I'm really hoping to get into more because just one is not enough. So in 2026, it's definitely going to be less events because of the ones that I don't want to do. It's a bit scary to reduce the number of events I'm going to do because it's where most of my income is coming from. But since I also reduced last year and made more revenue, I think it's better in the long run. But because reducing the number of events allows me to create more merch and create more art and be energized for the events instead of being burned out from so many not so good events. What's scary also is that I completely pulled out from the retail store I was at. It was just too expensive for what I could sell there. Most of the time, I was only barely covering the cost of the rent, and I still need to pay for the cost of my products on top of the rent. So, in my area, there's not many options, but in the rest of Canada, there's a consignment store called Shop Makers. And apparently, they're working on some in the Quebec province. I think it's been 2 years since they replied to my comment asking about it, and there's still no news. So I don't know if it's actually true or not, but I would still be willing to try this one to see if I get different results compared to Artist Alley shop. And I also opened a brand new shop, so I kind of left Etsy this year. I don't like the pricing model. I have about 200 products, so being on Etsy with that many products is kind of expensive, and some of my older products don't sell, but the way Etsy works is you pay for each product even if it doesn't sell. So I was a bit annoyed by that and by the fact that I can't organize it and brand it the way I want. So I decided to launch my own website on Shopify this year. I worked on it between Christmas and New Year's, and it's launched now. So if you want to support me, you can also go on my website directly. You don't need to wait to see me at a convention or if I don't go in your area. If you want to see me in an area of Canada that I've never been, please leave a comment. I want to try new ones. I was considering doing, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's AI-Con, not related with artificial intelligence. It's in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I've never been there. I've heard mixed reviews, but yeah, I'm not sure if I want to do this one, maybe. I think that's all I have to say on the topic. If you have any questions about events for me, you can leave them in the comments. I'll be working on the backlog of vlogs that I need to edit, and hopefully you'll see me again soon. Bye!